We will be launching the.
Good afternoon. Good
Hey.
afternoon.
One, that gave me a heart attack. Two, oh my freaking God. Thank you. I've never received one like that before. That scared me.
Okay.
I was like,
Jocelyn, your mic is
I'm
on.
going to be over screen record my jump scares.
Thank you. Sound like somebody's excited about something. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me get your page up. Okay, fifth period, fifth period. All right. Charlie, as soon as I get everybody started, I will take you into a pull-out room and we'll talk and see what we need to do to get you where you need to be. So give me a few minutes and we will get to that. All righty. Okay, so fifth period, fifth period, fifth period. I'm trying to pull up the share. Okay. Fifth period, fifth period. All right, just so that you know, fifth period exam is on Monday. All right, fifth period exam. We are having a 9-week exam. It is mostly multiple choice, but it will have some pictures for you to identify some things. So again, let's go through what you need to be looking at. And all right, so we have, and I'm going to do this in student view. Okay, Ethan, are you in? Says joining, but doesn't look like you're in yet. All right, and again, tomorrow afternoon, I have tutorials, so just pop in. You don't have to make reservation, just pop in at 1:35, and I will work with you to the best of my ability. Okay, I don't know why this says joining, but you're not joining. All right, well, hopefully we'll get that figured out. Okay, while we wait on Ethan to get in. All right, one, remember your cameras should be on. Cameras should be on. Okay. First unit is science of life, science of life, science of life. Again, you do have a review page, so you can go to the review page. Don't worry about the quiz because the quiz is all right, so you can use these pages to help you study. This is why you don't get study guides because they're actually already incorporated into the module. I'm not collecting this, so you can do this. Yes, you can. You can do this just to help you guide your thoughts. Okay. All right, going back to the beginning of the module. Again, I prefer that you look at the main idea topics, being as we do have three units, so you're only going to have so many questions per unit, probably no more than 10 questions per unit. So focus not so much on all those questions on the worksheet, although like you said, over the weekend, they wouldn't hurt for you to go through and there we go. Try again. Wouldn't hurt to go through and look at those. All right. So mostly you need to know what is the scientific method. There are steps to the scientific method. In the scientific method, we can represent our data in several forms, so know the different types of graphs. We always use the metric system, so that's as much as we need to talk about that. So meters, liters, and grams are what we are measuring in, and know your safety rules. Know these vocabulary words. So here again, the types of graphs are line graphs, bar graphs, circle graphs, and that would be part of different ways to show your data. When you're creating a hypothesis, you need to be able to discuss what is your control group, what is your independent group, dependent group, and your control variables. So these are all part of ways to set up an experiment. Know that the scientific method always starts with an observation. You observe something in nature with all your senses, and then you gather some information, and then you come up with what we call an educated guess, or the answer to the question. It's a testable answer to your question. So your observation to start off, you're going to start off with a problem. What is the problem? What is your observation? What question made you go, I wonder why? And then you're going to create a possible answer to your question, but it needs to be something we can test. So we need to be able, and there's different ways that we can collect data. So when we say test, we have to be able to collect data about it. And there's different kinds of data that, because data can be, we take pictures. So data can be that we collect numbers, we count how many of something. So there's different, your quantitative and qualitative data. Let's skip down here. All right, so down here, the organization of life. So this kind of goes into the Miss Gren area. That's going to go into our next section a little bit. Know your safety rules. So again, look at your picture that we did. I think I uploaded the crazy video as well. So if you want to watch that about what you should and should not do. It should have been organelles with an S. Case sensitive, capital O. Organelles 25. That should have been it. It should work. If that's the test you're trying to take. All right. So that's that unit. So go ahead and review that. The next unit is macromolecules. And here again, I would use the study guide for that. Okay, and everything you need to know about macromolecules is on, where is it? On this chart. Okay, so you don't have to, if it's not on this chart, it's not going to be on the test. All right, so that takes care of the second unit. And our third unit is what we're working on right now, which is cell transport. We are currently doing the review page. The only thing that we're not going to cover is the microscope, and we'll look at that next time. But everything else, the cells, so you know your cells alive, papers that you did, the label, the diagram, plant and animal cell, know the parts and the function of the parts, and your cell transport that we're working on now. So again, look at this one doesn't give you questions, but it does give you a long vocabulary list. All right, so we need to know, what is the cell theory? What do we mean by cells organized to make? What is the structure of a cell, and what are organelles, and what do they do in cell transfers? Like I said, the only thing we're not going to include is the microscope, and we'll do that separately. Okay, so everything, all of these boxes, except for microscope for the third lesson. All right, work on that. Most of you have turned in your worksheet, so I'm checking on that. I need to help somebody with something, so I'm going to come out of this. Again, if you owe any work, because your exam is on Monday, you need to make sure any missing work is turned in by tomorrow. Okay? All right. So take care of that while I am talking with Charlie. All right, so Charlie, I am creating a breakout room for you. All right, who else I need to see? Okay, I might. Let's see, who am I not seeing on screen right now that I want to talk to, that I need to talk to? All right. All right. Nevaeh, I'm inviting you into the little chat room. Meet me in the room. Okay. All righty. All right, I just remembered to say something that I need to say to everybody. It is really important for you to keep your grade up in this class because you do have to take an end of course test. And God forbid that you don't do well on the end of course test. You don't want to fail the class and have to do everything all over again. So you want to make sure, and then we're going to make sure you pass the end of course exam too. But if you fail that, then you only have to take that again because you do have to pass that to graduate. Okay. Let me say that again. You have to pass the end of course biology test to graduate. There's a couple of things that you can't sidestep, and this is one of them. So it is important that you keep this grade up so that you have a good passing grade in the class, so that when they combine this with, because they do a percentage, it's 20, the end of course is 20% of your grade, and you won't know what that is until April. That's the exam is in April. And so they will just put that score in. So a lot of you will be looking at the grade book and say, but I was passing and now it says I'm not. I had this average and now it's dropped. It's going to drop if you don't have a matching end of course score. Okay, so when I say keep your worksheets and study, you do need to keep a folder so that you can study. Um, and we will have times at the end in April when we just stop doing anything new and review for the test. But you need to keep in your mind that all of your EOCT classes, this one included, are a percentage of your class grade. So you can have an 80, 90, and 20% of that grade is going to drop when they put the end of course score in. So treat this class very, very seriously, because if you don't want to take it again, because this is one of those classes you will have to repeat if you don't pass it. All right, it's a requirement to graduate. All right. Okay, I got one more person I want. Ethan, I don't even see you on screen. All right, there you go. I'm giving you an invitation to meet me in the pull-out room. All right. See you in a minute. person I need to see. All right, good afternoon, Desiana. Desiana, I'm gonna pull you into a breakout room so I can get you caught up to what we're talking about. All right, so look for that. Why is it not going? Okay. I am going into Nearpod right now. So if there's a Nearpod score that you need to fix, now would be a good time to do that. And what I was saying to someone else, your exam is Monday. Your exam is Monday. Y'all have an exam schedule on your homepage, so please make sure you look at that so that not all teachers have to give an exam. I have to give one because all classes that have end of course tests have to have a 9-week exam. So I do have to give a biology exam. Okay. And it does have to be cumulative, not just a unit test. So check that schedule. Fifth period. Let me go out of here and look. If you scroll down to the bottom of your homepage, when you log into each subject, you have a 9-week exam schedule for September the 29th to October the 3rd. October the 3rd is actually to the 2nd, but yours is Monday the 29th. First period and fifth period are on Monday. Second period and sixth period are on Tuesday. There are no exams on Wednesday. Third and seventh are on Thursday, and fourth period is on Friday. So please judge your studying according to that schedule. Okay, Dallas, it should show up in the gradebook. And it did. Okay, good. And already things are looking brighter. All right. And again, like I said, folks, just turning things in. Most of this work that we have, we can get it done in class. And as long as you're turning stuff in, there shouldn't be no danger of anybody failing, but you got to turn stuff in. Because some of you are not failing because the work that you do is bad. It's the things that you don't do that's bringing you down. So, so go back and check to see if I've opened up a lot of things to September the 3rd. September, yeah, it should actually the 2nd, but I think I said the 3rd. Because after that, I cannot change a grade. So it is what it is. So if you are trying to get something fixed and I did not open it, you need to let me know. All right. And for some reason, it already put zeros on the transport one, but that's not late. So if it says 0, don't worry about it. The cell transport worksheet is not late. And why? I think something's up with the program. It's doing that not just this class, but in a lot of classes where it just automatically decides that if the assignment is up, it's going to get a 0 if there's no grade. All right. All right, Nearpod. Let me get there. Yes, you can put good work. You can put it on a Google Doc, and then I don't know if it uploads. Because what I've been running into, some of you are sending me links. And so if it saves as a link, sometimes I can open it and sometimes I can't. So you can do the work on a Google Doc and then save it as a PDF. Okay. Most folks are downloading the worksheets in Kami so that you can write on them and then um, save it as a PDF and upload the PDF. It is allowing me to open links, but sometimes it doesn't. Like what I'm running into with this cell transport worksheet is that it's having me download the worksheet. I'm trying not to do that because then I have to go back and erase all these downloads. But that's what I'm trying not to do, is to have to download your work before I can grade it. Because when I do that, I can't comment on what's wrong with it. Okay. All right. All right, Desianna, I did go back and check that carbohydrate one. You did go in twice, but even the second one you didn't finish. So if you can go back and check that. All right, so while I'm in here looking at the carbohydrate one, um, all right, Dallas, you can look at that carbohydrate one as well. And Jayla, you can look at it as well. Is Jayla here? Okay. That's the carbohydrate Nearpod. We're trying to boost scores here. What else can we boost? Okay. Alrighty. I did want to say something about the cell transport worksheet. Now, I was trying not to do it to give away answers to those of you who have not done it yet. However, I do want to say osmosis is, some of y'all are getting the area where you have to label those circles wrong. Osmosis only deals with water. So if it didn't say H2O in the circle, then osmosis was not your answer. CO2 is carbon dioxide, and it's a gas, and gases can diffuse through the membrane. Okay. Glucose is sugar, and those are larger molecules, so they are not going to diffuse through the membrane. I'll say that. Proteins are also large macro. So anything that was a macro molecule is not going to diffuse through the membrane. So you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get that across the cell membrane. Okay, so I just wanted to review that without giving away the answer. So think about those. And those of you who already turned it in, I want you to know that's why you didn't get the score that you got, because so some of y'all were not putting the correct labels with those circles. The osmosis activity, again, all of that dealt with things that are, so the two words you need to remember are solvent and solute. Solute are the whatever is dissolved in the liquid. Water is a solvent. It is the universal solvent because most things dissolve in water. So the activity that you had there with those circles, we're looking at if you had salt water, NaCl is salt, table salt, the stuff that you put on your food all the time. So they're looking at the concentration of salt water for each of those three circles. And they simply wanted to know, you're looking at the movement of water, because the salt is not going to go across. The salt's going to stay still. And we want to know what the water is going to do. Is the water moving back and forth? And if it is it going to cause this cell to swell, shrink, or stay the same? So that's what those three questions we're looking at. And the same thing with question number 4. They were looking at, it said H2O on the outside. You only had a few molecules of those blue things on the outside. And the arrow, I don't know if it's not very clear, but it's showing the arrow going into the cell. So all those little dots are going in for A, and there's a lot of dots inside the cell. So you needed to explain, is this hypertonic, where the molecules, the water is going to go in, and what's it going to do to the cell, or hypertonic or isotonic? So basically A is the opposite of C. All right, and B has picture of the arrow going back and forth with your solute and your solute and your water molecules going back and forth. So if it's going back and forth, folks, that's equilibrium. All right. The other one that everybody was kind of getting wrong, you had for active transports, you had 3 things. What was a pump? Where you actually have to pump. So you see plus and minuses, that's a pump. Okay. So that's an electron transport pump. And then you had endocytosis, things going into the cell, and exocytosis, things coming out of the cell. Right, so I wanted to make sure because you all have your exam on Monday, I wanted to make sure I touched bases with you on those things. The other thing that some of you, I could tell who was listening in class and who wasn't. Everybody should have had a check mark on causes osmosis. Okay, causes osmosis because the water is going to go back and forth. Okay. Now with the isotonic, it's going to go back and forth so that it maintains equilibrium, but it's still going to be able to go back and forth. Okay, there's an equal amount going in, an equal amount coming out, so it maintains the shape of the cell. Okay? All right, any questions? Any questions? We got about 5 more minutes left to class. All right, keep working. Keep working. I just wanted to make sure I reviewed that with you all. Again, if you need extra help tomorrow, 1:35, just log into the Zoom and I can help you. If you need something that you don't understand, something you worry about is going to be on the test, you're definitely going to have to match some organelles with their functions. You might have to know the picture of a plant cell and an animal cell. You might have to say, is this a plant cell? Is this an animal cell? What are the monomers? Okay. Monomer of a protein. Simple question. Monomer of a protein is, a monomer of a carbohydrate is. You mean the Nearpod? Okay. Give me 1 second. It should be, okay, hold on, let me just. Okay, there you go. All right, folks, this is what I did in the grade book. I'm trying to make sure this doesn't mess everybody up, but it definitely helps some folks. For the macromolecule review, if you did it, it boosts your score. If you didn't do it, it has no effect whatsoever. Except that one person, it just sent them over the top. So we can't have that. Yeah, 2 people. All right, so I'm gonna have to adjust that a little bit for them, but all right, so basically if you did it, you ended up with extra credit. And if you didn't do it, not to worry. You do it like this. All right, so for those of you who did the macromolecule review sheet, you got 10 bonus points for doing it. If you didn't do it, don't worry about trying to do it anymore because it's not worth anything. So that took a 0 off of some folks, and we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so if you didn't do it, don't do it. and worry about doing something else. Okay. All right, well, time to go, time to go, time to go. Yeah, that's Jayla. I had to fix that because it was sent you over the top. So we can't have grades with more than 100. So I did have, that's why I had to take it from a 25 to a 10. So if you did it, you got 10 bonus points. If you didn't do it, not to worry. Took that out. Alrighty. Have a good one, folks. Study, study, study. Study, study, study. Okay. There we go.